Let's talk about promises then, because that's what elections are about in a big way, past and present. So today you're announcing 100 new GP surgeries, but we've checked the figures and you've shut 450 since 2013. So aren't you trying to fix your own mistakes?
Hi, Laura. And in terms of promises...
The problem with that, though, is, as we've already said, you shut 450 GP surgeries since 2013. And if you look at what's happening with pharmacies, well, actually, the funding for those services was down a third since 2015, and more than 1,000 of them have shut.
Well, Labour tries to paint that picture.
The point I'm asking you to address is that you're making promises today about GPs and you're making promises today about pharmacies. But on both those fronts, since the Conservatives have been in charge, there have been many closures of GP surgeries, there have been many closures of pharmacies, and voters know that, they see that in their own communities. So why should they trust the promises that you're making to them now? Let's then talk about a different kind of promise. Your Prime Minister's famous promise to get waiting lists falling. Now, he promised that at the beginning of 2023, but people in this election will be judging you on your record over the long term. And I want to show you what's happened to waiting lists over the long term. And this shows very clearly before COVID and before the NHS strikes, waiting lists were already on the rise. Now, of course, they went up very significantly during COVID, but the point here is, that our viewers can see, during the period that the Conservatives have been in charge, waiting lists have gone up and up and up.
We're also constructing 50 new community diagnostic centres on top of the 160 that we've rolled out quite quietly.
What about the 40 new hospitals that Boris Johnson promised? Because we've checked the numbers on that. Only the National Audit Office said only 11 of them would be deemed as technically being new hospitals, and only a handful of them have opened. So why would people believe your promises now when that huge promise that Boris Johnson used to get the crowd to chant, that has not been kept?
So that promise was made in 2019. The pandemic hit us pretty much immediately afterwards.